I was in Nigeria for like 6 weeks, and on one of the last days, I went to this old archive building, and inside there was like no electricity, and it was these rotting film cans, stopped clocks, cobwebs, nature invading the building. My name is Onyeka Igwe. I am an artist and researcher based in London in the UK, and we are at my exhibition, The Real Story is What's in That Room, at Mercer Union in Toronto. I have been researching colonial film archives for the last 5 or 6 years, and I guess this film was kind of a culmination of that research in some way. The kind of inspiration for the film was this interest in architectural spaces. I was looking at colonial films, so material that is like incredibly racist. I was like, I don't want to keep on looking at this stuff because that puts the focus squarely on people who are misrepresented or don't really have a lot of agency in their representations.
Your first thoughts of Canada may be of a land covered with snow and ice. But what is Canada really like?
So how can I explore these subjects and explore the kind of power dynamics and the politics of archives without using this material? And I thought that like archives as architecture, as structures, as places that you go, was an avenue to do that exploration.
Hey, what is it this time, Mr. Campbell?
I'd spent some time at an archive in Bristol, which was from the collection of the Empire and Commonwealth Museum, which was a now defunct museum. And the archive was held in a tobacco warehouse. Like it used to be squatted, and there used to be like raves there, and at the top floor is a completely glass ceiling. But also the second reason that I was interested in this particular space is because of the history of the museum and how it came to be defunct.
And to study cultural heritage associated.
So the museum was created in 1986, which was by a guy named Union Jack Hayward. He was called Union Jack because he's a pretty nationalistic kind of guy. He wanted to create a museum that would cast the British Empire in the same way as the Roman Empire. But yeah, this timeline spans the life of this museum as a project, from like an embryonic stage to its death in 2013. So in my research, I discovered that the Empire and Commonwealth Museum had this radio station called Commonwealth FM, and they broadcast a whole range of different programs. And I had gathered a few different bits of their archive and used that as a basis to create some more programming. There's an opportunity to listen, and there's a little QR code where you can go to a website that allows you to listen to these radio shows.
Commonwealth FM.
Commonwealth FM, them big and them broad and them massive.
I was interested in there being a journey between the front space and the space of the film, invoking some of the horror themes that you have to kind of light your way to get to the film. I went on a research trip to Nigeria in 2018 to look at archives there, look at film archives there, and I had heard about this old archive building that had been kind of abandoned. The position of this archive, like left intact but behind a new building, felt like it had some meaning for Nigeria's colonial legacy. So I guess when I encountered that building, I was like, oh, okay, there's a way in which these two spaces speak to these colonial legacy in both places. When I was constructing it and trying to link these two buildings together, I had this narrative of something of like a tour, like a guided tour of these spaces.
And at the back of the passenger shed, facing the left, is the nightmare room.
I was working with a sound artist called Shanice Oritha, and so we worked with some voice actors and created sound design and a score that was based on vocalizations in particular spaces.
People can be so...
I have gone to the length.
It's really like an embodied sounding out of physical spaces.
Impelling force for the restoration of the dignity.
People can
The film's called A So-Called Archive, I guess I was interested in devaluing that word and making an audience kind of question a reverence for archives. I think also a lot in my titles that I want to kind of give clues to an audience of what maybe to expect, or to like not completely trust what they're going to be seeing or hearing.
Laurie will never go to that. It's too deep. The real story is what's in that room.